you can love or have love for multiple people at the same time. I've seen it so many times with men, and then they got a side chick or whatever the case may be, and they do love their side chick, but I feel as though being in love for a man is like feeling responsible for a person, and I don't think you can feel responsible for two women at one time. But love, yes, like I've seen it, I've lived it. You can definitely love two, three women at one time. We're built differently. We have different temptations. And the moment that women realize that they are not equal to men and that we are different in those ways, you can start to understand a man's psyche better and learn to navigate your relationship so that it can be more peaceful and whatnot. So I do think that you should show appreciation to your man if he's being faithful, taking care of the house, providing, doing all those things. I think you should appreciate that. If it's somebody that's going to be invited to the wedding, then I probably can't rock with you. Other than that, I really don't care. I would actually prefer a woman to have a higher body count because I don't want boring sex.
Reason, what's going on, man?
What's the deal, bro?
Thanks for joining us. This one, man.
Okay, gotcha.
Thanks for joining us on 8 at the Table. We appreciate it.
Nah, I appreciate you guys having me.
Um, so I heard that you talk about relationships. You definitely have strong opinions on relationships. But before then, you took a flight up.
Yeah, my body's still recovering from that the time difference and whatnot.
Okay, this is not your first time in New
No,
York.
no, no, no. I love New York. I come out here maybe like twice a year or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. So tell us about you and where you're from, your project, and everything else, and then we'll get into the conversation.
Yeah, born and raised on the West Coast. So I was born in L.A. and raised in an area specifically called Carson. I'm signed to Top Dawg Entertainment, which is also the label was founded in Carson. So I always tell people it's like a kid from L.A. getting signed to the Lakers. My next project, this is my second album with the label. It's called Porches. It comes out July 28th. And it's really a project that I've been working on for a little while now. It's the ideology that no matter where we come from, we all come from different places. But if we grow up in similar walks of life, class, social settings, things like that, then we all have something in common. We have similar traumas. We have similar things that we're good at, similar things that we might be bad at. And it's really an album pushing understanding. So, we're in a day and age of social media. The moment you see somebody do something on social media, a lot of people are quick to judge or point a finger when I think that really we should be more loving and understanding with each other because you never know what somebody's going through. And chances are you've gone through something similar to that. So, yeah.
That's a different approach.
Yeah.
That's that's a risky approach as an artist. Is that something that you feel like just to take a risk like that? Because
Yeah.
you're talking about reality, right? And you're talking about truth. And a lot of times artists are more prone to do what everybody else is doing instead of going to the approach of not doing what everybody else is doing. What got you to a place where you're like, yo, look, this is real reality that I'm rapping about on this album.
Yeah.
And you guys want to live in Playland, you can stay in Playland. If you want to live in reality, listen to this album.
Yeah, for me, it's why I got into music. Like I got into music because I wasn't good at talking about things that I went through, and so it was therapeutical for me. So I can't personally do the thing where artists will, and there's nothing against them for doing it. I can't do the thing where the artists are just trying to do what'll get them quote unquote a hit record or a viral record or now the new thing is trying to get a record to go viral on TikTok. For me, it has to have some type of substance to it, and it has to be able to have some type of therapeutical method to it because I need it for me. Like I still make music for me to be able to get certain things off my chest. So even with this album, these are a lot of stories I'm talking about on this album of things that I've been growing up with. Like these are things that I've never gotten a chance to talk to anybody about. So I've kind of been carrying these stories with me my entire life. So even this release is going to feel therapeutic to just kind of have it out in the world.
You talked about love. What's the record on the album that you feel what's the one song on the album that got you to as close of the message I know it's a body of work.
Yeah, of
It's a
course.
body of work.
Yeah.
But is there a song in the middle of the body of work that got you to that place that you were like, yo, this is where I was trying to go with this? and then this is the record or the song that means so much more to me.
Yeah, yeah. That record for me was actually Porch Steps. It's towards the end of the album, and it's about I had a friend that was killed, Wendell, and when he died, his best friend Chuck was mourning his death. But while Wendell's family was mourning, grief can make you do crazy things. His family started blaming Chuck for Wendell passing, saying like Chuck set him up. And when I saw that happen, I'm like, wow, grief can do crazy things to people. Like these two dudes was friends since diapers, basically. And now the family is thinking that he turned on his best friend, so he doesn't even get a chance to grieve because he has to defend himself. And that was just kind of like interesting to me because grief is making us hate each other or point the finger or whatever, when really like Chuck should be, receiving love the same way the family is receiving love. And it's just a consistent theme throughout the album. Once I wrote that record, I kind of knew that I wanted to tell these stories and always tie in, a message of understanding, a message of wrapping an arm around somebody instead of pointing the finger.
So how do you see it? Did you feel angry when you were writing it, or did you feel like you were trying to connect the audience with it? What was the exact emotion that you felt at that moment? Like,
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
it's an incredible story, and I definitely get it. The person Chuck Wendell
yeah,
did
yeah,
not have the time to grieve,
yeah,
and he didn't have time to process, and then you have the family that's angry.
yeah.
How do you put that together on a song?
Yeah, for me it was more sad emotions. I knew Wendell really well, and I know Chuck. I still know Chuck to this day, and so for me it was really just like me feeling bad for Chuck because I've been around him. I know how much he loved him, and so when I was writing some of these records, it was really just like sadness, me feeling bad that somebody has to go through that, me feeling bad that somebody has to carry along that, like me knowing that these people aren't even as close anymore with the family because of this thing. And it was really just in the hopes of, maybe some of these messages will get out there and live on and be able to, A, carry on these people's names, but B, just provide a different perspective that can maybe mend the situation.
You mentioned earlier that artists and I always commend artists because I know being an artist is a lot of pressure, but I
Yeah.
also have a huge respect for artists who are true to their craft and true to themselves.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're moving around as the realest person that you are in a space that everybody's almost like the wild wild west. And
Yeah.
to be able to maintain yourself and not have to grab onto that wave that's moving and being a true artist, you know, which I've always seen those are the artists that become the most successful. How do you maintain the pressure of of the people are like, well, you need a TikTok viral hit. You need a TikTok viral hit, and the or staying authentic to the message because your message in the beginning is like we are from different hoods, but this thing is more about social class.
Yeah.
If I was eating quarter chips or I was eating drinking
Yeah.
Arizona
Yeah.
in LA, I promise you was doing it in the Bronx. I promise you was doing it in
Yeah.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
long as you
Exactly.
was on that income level, it was all the
Yeah.
same thing. So how do you not dilute your message?
It does get challenging at times just because this is a business. So you really receive the pressures from, higher ups, not as in your boss, but higher ups as far as the people that are funding your project, whether it be a label, distribution company, whatever it is. You get the pressures from them because they want the record that's gonna quote unquote make the most money or go viral or whatever. And that's really where you receive most of the pressure. So it is tough because you do have to bend a little bit in order to make the business make sense. But I just think it's really about who you're doing the business with. If you are in a situation where somebody already understood the brand and path that you was trying to walk before you even got in, then you're good. If not, then the pressure can get really, really real because it becomes less about the art and more about survival at that point because you're trying to be successful and make the money. But it's definitely difficult. I keep my friends close to me. All of the homies in my circle, I've been knowing them for 10 plus years, 15 plus years. And that kind of helps me stay grounded a little bit more, just having those people around me.
What are you taking from what are you taking into this album that you learned from your first album? This is your sophomore project.
Yeah, sophomore.
And What's the name of the project one more time for everyone?
Porches.
Okay.
Yeah,
What do you do? What are you taking from your freshman, I would say, right?
yeah, yeah,
Project to your sophomore project. What's the difference in the vibe in the studio? What's kind of the difference of bringing it into this space?
yeah. The biggest thing I learned on my freshman project was that when you're making these records and trying to please so many different angles, sometimes you can get lost and not be able to really, really hone in on exactly the art that you're trying to make. And so this time around, I just knew I was more intentional. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I knew exactly the message I wanted to get across, and I knew the story and picture I wanted to paint, and I just didn't deter from it. Whereas on my first project, it was my first one. I wanted everybody to love me, and it did really, really well. I love what that project did for me to set me up in my career, but I wasn't as intentional as far as the message and whatnot. And this time, I just didn't stray from it. So that's kind of what I took coming into it, was just be intentional, stay locked in on the message that you want to get across, the picture you want to paint, the aesthetic you want to paint. And once we get to that finish line, then you can worry about, making sure that everybody's happy with the product.
Okay. All right. Well, this is eight at the table. So right before we close out the intro,
Yeah,
so I'm gonna ask you an eight at the table question.
got you. Okay, bet.
Can a man love a woman and another woman equally, both at the same time?
Can a man love a woman and another woman equally? I think a man can. I think that humans in general, but men can only be in love with one woman at the same time. But I do think that you can love or have love for multiple people at the same time. I've seen it so many times with men, and then they got a side chick or whatever the case may be, and they do love their side chick. But I feel as though being in love for a man is like feeling responsible for a person, and I don't think you can feel responsible for two women at one time. But love, yes, like I've seen it, I've lived it. You can definitely love two, three women at one time. And, you
When you
know,
say responsible, do you mean responsible financially or responsible emotionally?
responsible, all of those things. So responsible, provide and protect. Protect means not only financially, but also emotionally, mentally. And I just feel like you only got space, so much space for one. Like I don't see a lot of men, I don't really see many men that will, go through the things that they will go through for the person that they're with multiple women. Like you don't see it. You usually have a side situation because it is easier, it's convenient. And the moment that convenience leaves, then the situation leaves. And that's what I mean by not being in love, because when you're in love with, even when it's not convenient, we see men all the time hate the woman that they're with. Like, you know what I mean? Like, meaning haters and like they don't like her
I
right
don't
now. But
like them.
yeah, but they in love with them. You know what I mean? So they just got to deal with the shit. And you don't really do that with your side chick. Like the moment it gets difficult in a difficult situation, it's like I'm not rocking with it.
All right, cool.
So I saw a piece of an interview that you did over a year ago where you
Yeah.
said that men should get extra credit for being faithful.
Yes,
You
1000%.
you still feel like that?
I do. I
And
do. I
what's
just
the reason for that?
I feel like I wasn't. I'm glad you asked me that because I didn't get a chance to really explain it at the time that it happened. So it came out kind of crazy. But nah, I feel as though I feel like we have to look at it like this. If something happens to majority of women will tell you they've been cheated on. Like 95% of women will tell you at some point they've been cheated on. So why would you not appreciate not going through something that 95% of women go through? That doesn't make sense. And I think that it comes from this argument that women have in their head that we are equals and we're not. Like we are not tempted. Our temptation levels are not the same. You can line up 10 random men and 10 random women and ask them their body counts. The men are going to win by a landslide. That's not because women are more disciplined, because if it was about discipline, then no shade, but all women to be in shape, because it takes discipline to be in shape. But you're not disciplined when it comes to being in shape, but you disciplined when it comes to sex. No, we're built differently. We have different temptations. And the moment that women realize that they are not equal to men and that we are different in those ways, you can start to understand a man's psyche better and learn to navigate your relationship so that it can be more peaceful and whatnot. So I do think that you should show appreciation to your man if he's being faithful, taking care of the house, providing, doing all those things. I think you should appreciate that and know that that is a rare thing. And if you don't, then that's how a lot of men feel unappreciated.
Is it?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Lonnie. I'm sorry.
No, since you brought up body count,
Yeah.
in your perspective,
Yes.
Does body count matter?
Thank God I thought she was going to ask me about body count.
You can tell the
I
people.
don't
They
wanna
might want to
tell.
know, but
I do not want to tell the people.
Don't forget he's a rapper and he travels.
I do not want to tell the people. But I don't think body count matters. I think for an insecure man, in my opinion, body count matters. Like for me, and I think most secure men, it's like when you meet a woman, as long as you ain't slept with none of the homies. My rule is, if it's somebody that's gonna be invited to the wedding, then I probably can't rock with you. Other than that, I really don't care. I would actually prefer a woman to have a higher body count because I don't want boring sex.
Give us a number when you say higher body count.
Higher body count is, it's hard to put a number, but whatever can whatever can make the sex exciting is like what I want. Like, it's hard to say a number because I don't know.
Well, I'll suggest a number.
Yeah, suggest a number. Yeah,
Less or more than 20.
I don't care. Like
I think that he's saying that as long as sex is good,
as long as the sex is fire,
whatever you had to do to get there,
yes,
it was necessary.
What you probably like let's say we was talking about this the other day. Like if a girl moved from Minnesota, she come to LA and she done slept with 100 niggas. Like the sex is probably gonna be fire, and I don't know nobody in Minnesota, so I really don't care. Like I'm just being honest. Like I really don't. Nor am I ever gonna know you slept with 100 dudes because I'm never gonna ask. Like, I'm never going to ask you how many men you've slept with. Like, I don't ask questions that I don't want the answers to.
Okay, so you don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to.
Yeah.
Now, in all honesty, have you ever went through a woman's phone?
I went through a phone twice. And I don't believe in going through phones, but I did go through a phone twice.
It's a terrible thing, right?
It's
As
a terrible
man,
thing.
it's like,
it's like you feel, you feel like any man that consistently goes through a woman's phone, like something is wrong with that man's psyche, bro. Because like I felt terrible as I was going through the phone. Like I don't even understand how people do that. But both times I saw something that I didn't want to see, and that's why I don't go through phones. Like I believe that my Lord and Savior will show me whatever I need to know. If he don't show me that, then
Did you address what you saw on the phone? Did you address it?
I did. Both times I did. And it wasn't, luckily it wasn't nothing that was like crazy terrible. But both times it was something that I did not want to see. And both times I can honestly say it was something that wasn't going to end the relationship anyway. Like I tell my homegirls, if you go through your dude's phone, be prepared to leave. Like don't go through the phone if you know you're going to stay, because now you're just ruining the peace of the relationship. And you're going that extra step to find something just to do what? To argue and irritate him, and now he's at
to break the peace in the house.
To break the peace in the house, and then he just going to go cheat on you some more, because that's what men do when they don't feel like they're at peace, is they go find peace somewhere else because they love you too much to leave, but they want to have peace. And the girl over here don't bring them no headaches. They go over there, they do what they got to do, they leave. She don't get mad because he's not texting back. She don't do none of that. So you're going to break the peace of the house and he's just going to go over there and cheat some more. It doesn't make sense.
So one last question, right?
Yeah.
So the past generations, like any generation, right? The past generation brings the rules because they're the ones that were there.
Yeah.
We weren't born yet. So the generation before me, they were here before.
For sure.
I'm born. And then they told me their rules. I changed my rules and I was like, nah, that ain't for me. Then the new generation comes in. Now your generation.
Yeah.
What do you think that people who are either single or in a relationship get wrong about today's time in this generation? Like they completely get it wrong.
Talking about this new generation, what are they completely getting wrong?
Like so let's say my generation, I'm older than you, right?
Okay, yeah.
So my generation, we have all rules.
Yeah.
We like, yo, ain't no twerking over here. Like we're not doing that, right?
Yeah.
So now your generation may be like, well, that's not a big deal. This is an African cultural thing that's been happening for. What is the generation before you getting wrong?
The generation before me, meaning younger,
older.
Older. I think what the generation that was older got wrong, but now it's kind of like a complete 180, and it's like it needs to be some balance. The generation that was older, it was a complete imbalance as far as in a household between man and woman. It was like, the man is the man of the household. The woman does not have a real, say so or opinion or whatever the case may be. And now because of that, we're now in this time where women feel like they have to be equal. And I always say this, like, women don't want equality, they want fairness. Fairness is fine because fairness means that you treat me fairly. Like if I talk to you and express myself, you listen and receive it, and vice versa. Equal means that we are actually equals, and we're not actually equals because you only want to be equals when it's beneficial to you. So you're not looking for equality, you're looking for fairness. So I think the generation before, it was just that complete imbalance, and because of that, now we're in a time where it's birthed a bunch of men and women that are just completely on the opposite side, and now we got the men acting like women and we got the women acting like men, and that's why you get these debates every single day online, is because the men are getting sassier and the women are getting manlier. Yeah.
Mm.
All right, cool. Lonnie?
So you said that you should pass a questionnaire before you get a podcast mic.
Yes.
Did we pass?
I told you, I like this show. I see the clips all the time,
Okay.
and I love all the clips. Like, this is actually a show. What I like about it is that it's not reaching for clicks. It's like actual dialogue and conversation.
All right, cool. We just want to know.
Yeah. Nah, because I said on my Instagram, like, you should have to pass, like, the way that they make gun laws, you got to pass, like you have to pass a test to show that you won't be a harm to society. You should have to do that before you get a podcast mic. Like, because it's too many people that
Chill out,
just.
but you know what?
Yeah.
It'll fade out.
Yeah,
It'll
yeah.
fade out. It's just over time. Favorite artist before we go?
Favorite artist of all time, it's always hard for me to pick Lil Wayne and Jay-Z. I always go back and forth. Lil Wayne and Jay-Z.
All right, cool. Reason, thank you. And guys, you're going to watch Reason in the next episode, or if you didn't see the episode, definitely click on it. It's right here and watch it now.
Yes, sir.